and it's my privilege to be with you here. And since I know you from so many years, as a teenager I came to you and I've been healthy, and in a very holistic way you have kept me healthy. So it's really an honor from my father's legacy side. It's my little 2 cents that I would like to thank you again for accepting this little memento, this little citation for your great work that you are doing. And so I have a few little questions which I would like to ask you about your journey. You've received the highly prestigious Padma Shree award and now the MAGM felicitation recognition. Please tell me how your journey began and where did it start with when you felt that medicine is not just a business, it's a mission towards humanity. When was that first instance that you felt that you need to give back to society in this huge way?
This goes long. Our service is beyond 5 decades now, and every moment of these 52 years has been very memorable, very gratifying, extremely satisfactory. This kind of joy and happiness is born out of your love for your profession. So this is, like I said, going back when I was 6 years old, when I used to see a lot of suffering of very poor people, workers, laborers, who used to work in Tungabhadra Dam. That's an old, the Tungabhadra Dam was being built then. So a lot of blasting, stone work was involved, so a lot of injuries used to be there. My father was the engineer in charge, so he would carry these people with so many injuries to a bigger place because this was a remote area. So I used to see from that time a lot of suffering. I would ask them, what is it that we can do to reduce this pain? My whole goal in life was to reduce the suffering and pain. Both my parents would tell me, the only way you can take care of this is by becoming a doctor. So that's when the whole idea got ingrained that you should become a doctor to take care of these suffering poor people. And that's how I chose medicine.
That's excellent. So tell me a little bit about the rural area, where you have so many, more than 2.5 million rural patients, and the numbers are growing.
We have crossed the 3 million mark.
Wow, amazing. So tell me about what exactly do you do there with the rural?
So this again goes back to the motive of serving the poor. And the poor, largely you find those who can't get to medical help is in the rural areas. Any town, any city, if you travel a little distance beyond the center point, you will get to these kind of rural areas. India is full of villages. We have 7 lakh villages. And mind you, so many of these villages lack doctors being there when they are needed.
Okay.
Patient is sick, they go to the primary health care or any health care or any doctor available there. At that time, they may not find the required medicines, required doctor, required specialists. This happens all the time. So from then, the idea is to serve them is only possible if you go to rural areas. So we chose an area which is away from Bangalore because I practice in Bangalore, my livelihood is here. So once this is over, we set apart every Sunday. In fact, all my family members are involved in this service.
Wonderful.
Hema, my wife, Dr. Charit, who is a DM cardiology, Dr. Abhijit, who is a DM endocrinology, they all help me, including now my grandchildren, help me in this work. That makes it even more attractive.
And they must be looking at you as a messiah, coming to meet them every weekend.
A lot of love, respect, affection. More than anything, when we look into their eyes, there is so much of trust that they put on us, that we will deliver, this doctor will solve their medical issues. That's the confidence they have in us that makes us go back again and again.
And so is there any other vertical that I may not know of besides this social service that you are into?
There are a lot of other things that I do. Earlier, of course, we were only into taking care of serving in this our village clinic. That's our village clinic. It is, by the way, world's oldest and longest serving free clinic. And there we realized not just the medical issues. The children don't have enough nutrition due to worms. So we would go to the schools around and we would give them simple deworming dose and high protein powders and vitamin syrups, and they all helped for a healthier growth of these children. Ladies would go to work, they would cook for everybody, but they would not eat. So there was a nutritional gap, and that we could fill up by helping them with injections and with vitamins, especially iron. It was so simple as giving them a simple iron tablet or a B complex tablet. An iron tablet used to cost those days only 4 paisa. Now it may be about 30 paisa to 1 rupee. Same with the B complex. It used to be extremely cheap. With these two things, we could reverse so many things. In the early first 10 years of my rural service, people, by the time they would get to me, so many of them would lose their life. Or by the time I got to them, it was so late, because they would try their own medicines. A village, whoever is treating physician would give them their village medicine, rural medicine, try to solve. Then pujas, and you know how it is in the rural areas, Devuru, that, this. And by that time it would be very late. I would do so many of them. This happened from the first 10 years of my work. But after that, next 10 years, things started changing. So people knew more about health, and they would come to me, and I had enough of antibiotics and certain medicines which are not available 55 years ago. And I could treat, and had the time and luxury to get rid of those illnesses. Next 10 years, people became aware. The public awareness of health improved, and the hygiene in those villages, like toilets and drainage system, and in the schools they would teach them. These 10 years were built in such a way, more of preventive health care. So I did not see acute illnesses, I did not see illnesses where I had to give prolonged medication. And now presently, as it is today, a fantastic era of vaccinations. So everybody, every village, everybody is vaccinated against so many of acute and serious illnesses. So we don't see that anymore. So now every doctor, whether it is rural or in the city, we see more of what are called NCDs, non-communicable diseases. That means sugar, pressure, arthritis or similar. These things don't go away. Pressure doesn't go away, sugar doesn't go away, they are there for you. So these are the things now majority of our patients form of these NCTs. So it's a tough task, but it is definitely going right.
You got it hands on, and I know the villages are in the best of hands, and I wish you all the best, Dr. Saab. Now coming to how the medical line and the whole system around medicine is getting super expensive. Everything is so expensive. What would be your message to the new doctors coming in the line and people who are doing research in it, as to how can we make this something which is viable, something which is not too expensive? What is your message to the incoming doctors in India and globally also for medicine?
Medicine is a wonderful life. Medicine is an art. You need to practice that art, and you need to master the art of medicine. Slowly you become really good at it, and you need to understand your patient. It is not just seeing and prescribing. You need to learn to physically examine them with all the inputs that you have learned throughout your career. That's what we are taught. How to examine, how to diagnose, then how to treat.
It's a holistic approach. So it's healing the mind, body and the soul of the person, and the faith that, like, if I would say I have faith in you, I meet you and I feel healed. So that faith comes in a doctor.
We want to heal you.
Yeah.
It's not a commercial transaction. It's more personal, and it's so much for me as much as for you, that I want to make sure you are okay and back to your job, your work. In rural areas, people cannot be off work. If they don't go to work for 1 day, 2 days, there will be no food in the house. He suffers, his family, his children suffers. There's a kind of cascading effect of the primary breadwinner not able to work. And so when we treat them, we are not just making him all right, we are making the whole family. So it's a big effect. The numbers multiplying hugely. See, we see now, when I started, I was seeing 4 to 6 patients, and I used to wait for patients, and the wait went on, and the numbers kept on growing by the year, and now we see 900 to 1000 patients every Sunday.
Wow.
You imagine 900 to 1000 families, and we have crossed 3.2 million patients as on date. These are amazing. This gives you an idea of what is required in the rural community in India. What a young doctor should know: number one, he definitely needs to work, establish himself, earn enough for himself and his family and whatever savings. Then he should venture out into this service. At the same time, this service does not mean he stops his practice and earning. They need to earn and categorize a small portion of your time once in a week. That's more than enough to handle what we are seeing. I am the example. You can look at my work from the last 50 years, and the growing numbers are an example of what is the task that is ahead. We need to propagate the message of service. It's not only rural, even in the cities people need such free healthcare. You need to propagate this, multiply rural clinic in various rural areas in this country. Doctors must volunteer to spare a part of 1 week to go to the rural areas. So as I said, there are 7.5 lakh villages in the country. So I look after 350 villages, my coverage area. So if you even take that as an average, you need about 1,200 to 1,500 doctors. It's not difficult. For a huge country, we have 11 lakh registered medical practitioners. You can imagine how beautifully you can take care of these simple issues. What we are doing is a basic healthcare, but what we are bridging a big gap between these patients going to a hospital with whatever card they have, go through the formalities. These are things that that kind of people cannot afford. They would rather be away from it, suffer in the house, than go somewhere. Somebody has to take them.
So the message from your side to all the doctors and incoming doctors in the world is give back to society in a small amount of time. And it's not the quantity of the time, it's the quality of the time that you put in with your heart and soul to give back to the underprivileged. So also, doctor, I wanted to speak about the pandemic which happened.
Yes.
And I know that you were completely hands-on online, treating patients, you were there on WhatsApp, you were available for video calls. How was that time for you to deal with online, so many people going under the radar of the COVID issue?
Again, we put ourselves in the patient's shoes to understand his or her situation. What is she going through at this time? One simple advice from me can change the whole scenario on the other end. And I know what to do. I know what this illness is about. I know what medicines to give, how to give, when to give. This treatment is very clear, very straight. And since we knew all these things, how to handle the COVID, for instance, so we could advise them boldly, and there was no need for them to get to the doctor. But we have been in the clinic. There were patients who would come to us with COVID. They didn't know it was COVID. So we had to look into their throats, look at their nose and the cold and throat and the cough, and diagnose such serious diseases. Of course, we are put to grave risk. That was a risk not only for the doctor but for his entire family. And there are some of my colleagues who passed away during that time, and the family suffers. There is no doubt at all. But doctors mean service. Your first goal is service.
You are a COVID warrior. That's what I would say. COVID warrior.
It taught us a lot. It taught us the value of what family is. It taught us the value of what a doctor can do in a society. There is so much that we can do. That was only an example. This kind of a thing we are seeing throughout our career, throughout our life, in wherever you go in India. So a doctor is automatically assumed leader of the community. So you have to be a leader, you have to deliver, you have to lead from the front. And that's what we all do.
How do we prepare ourselves, God forbid, if there's something again like a soft pandemic that comes in? How does the generation now, we know that okay, so and so thing has happened and now we need to build our immunity. What is the right way, holistically, that we can empower ourselves, that okay, we have all our immunity in place so that we do not get into the same cycle.
Yes. First important, primary hygiene, primary health, good nutrition, enough rest, enough exercise, less stress. No, it's top priority. Stress is the main thing that reduces your immunity, reduces your resistance, put you at a risk of such infections and illnesses. Lack of exercise is another thing that is, and poor diet, especially anything that's not made in the house, that comes from outside, is not healthy enough. And you need to definitely have at least 2 fruits of different color every day. Those give you antioxidants. The energy to fight such illnesses comes from your fruits. So it's important to have regularly enough water. You need to hydrate yourself well. Only when the body is hydrated, it can generate immunity and resistance. Nutrition, as I said, home food is very much important. These things make a lot of difference.
So now, doctor, going next forward, do you have any plan for the next decade that you want to, do something in another village, or upscale the village with the help of, health ministry coming in on board? Any message to the health ministry or to the government of India for our rural villages?
Yes. This kind of service is nowhere you will see this level and this scale and this without interruption. We are there. Why are we so popular? It's because of your availability. Come what may, the villagers around know this doctor will be there. And because it is a successful model, it needs to be replicated in such areas. As I told you, India is a huge country. And if my example is showcased, it's not just the name must carry some weight. For it to carry some weight, like you already mentioned, Padma, Shree, there are so many other awards. It makes the advice, whatever I speak, more powerful, and for people to look up and take notice. These are more important.
So the module that you have done in your rural village, if that can be replicated by our ministry department and taking one doctor from each state or each area, which is a larger area, and appoint them to take care of one rural village, if this message can spread all over India, then it will do wonders for our rural villages.
Absolutely, and makes the doctor a much better human being. He will naturally become a very successful doctor in his practice. So by doing service, you are becoming much better person.
Have we any time, or have you, Dr. Saab, sent in a proposal to the health ministry or the department in Delhi of health, saying that okay, this is the idea, that this is a project, that how I handle, and let it be like a blueprint where you can replicate this in every state?
Yes,
is there ever done any paperwork?
No, only people with good feeling, good heart like you. You have come all the way. You have spent so much time and your effort to interview me today.
It's a pleasure, a complete honor.
And this is an unbelievable award that you have given. This is something I and my family
with my love,
cherish.
with all my love from my father's blessing side.
I know they are all been grateful. It is things like that. That is like a pat on my back, telling me, yes, you are doing the right thing, go ahead. And our example should be showcased.
Yes, absolutely. I think, a cabinet meeting or with the health ministry, if you have a project proposal with all the details, that can be used as a pilot project.
Yes.
And that can be taken every state to state by the health ministry and say that this is the way the leading forward. I think that would really help in building our nation, building from the grassroots level.
It's a very good idea, and definitely, and the model will be built, and
Inshallah,
I will make sure you are part of that
and
initiative.
Jai Hind to that, and thank you so much again. Thank you, and it's a complete honor. Thank you, Dr.
Nice of you. Thank you, Mehnaaz.